My name is Summer, and I would love to be your counselor.
All right, I'm hanging out here today with Summer Baker, one of the amazing therapists that we have on the MyCounselor.Online team. And I'm so excited for you to get to know her a little bit more. So I've got some questions teed up to help her, share herself with you and you to get to know her a little bit. But before that, I'm going to surprise her a little bit. I've got some reviews from some of her clients that she doesn't know I'm going to read here. And so you get to kind of see her, feel the joy and awkwardness of, having your clients brag on you here. But I want to share that Madison says, I really appreciate the way Summer listens to what I'm saying and is able to ask deeper questions from that. She digs deep and doesn't just let things pass by without facing them. Feels like she actually cares, and I always feel heard and supported. Summer has a warm and empathetic way about her that makes me feel safe, while also being very deep and analytical that gives me confidence in her wisdom and expertise. Wow, Madison. Bill wants to say, I immediately felt comfortable with Summer, and I'm impressed with how she listened intently and was able to provide such meaningful insight that I was completely missing. The faith element is so important to me and wonderfully present in Summer's insights and approach. I have a journey ahead, but I'm feeling incredibly optimistic, and I highly recommend Summer. Summer, your clients love working with you. Tell me, what brings you the most joy in working with your clients?
Man, well, that was really good to hear. Oh, it's always good to hear. There's a lot that brings me joy. I think as of recently, what I've noticed is I love the moment where I see my client's face kind of have that aha moment of, oh, I am good. I do have good things about me. I have good qualities. I have strengths. I have like this goodness that God's put in me that maybe I wasn't aware of before. And it's just, I love seeing that because then I get to rally and be like, yes, of course you do.
Yes. Like getting to see that shift. And it's like the lights come on and life kind of comes into that moment. And for therapists, it's like crack, isn't it?
Oh my gosh.
I've never actually done crack cocaine, but I imagine that, it's got to feel something like the thrill of that moment when we get to see something really cool happen in the life of our client. It's just the best.
Yeah, it is. Love it.
I'm curious, share a little bit about how you got called into this ministry. Like, how is it that, God planned for you to have this role in people's lives before time began? But how did he onboard you to that? This is how he wanted to use you in the kingdom. How did he lead you into this ministry?
Oh man. I mean, it had to have started at a young age. I benefited from counseling as a little girl, had my own set of, trauma and trials that I faced. And I think I vividly remember my first counselor and being like, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Wow.
And then having people in my life that brought me to church, and talked to me about it and getting to see the Lord move in me and just how comforted and loved I felt in those moments, despite everything that was going on. I think God placed it in my heart. Like I remember feeling that at a young age. And so here though, like, I didn't start out doing faith-based counseling, even though I wanted to. And so I think God put the right people in my life at the right time to kind of say, hey, here's this opportunity. Like now you can counsel people, which you love doing, and you get to bring the Lord into it, which is an added bonus. That's actually the main point.
Right. I love it. It's, how the Lord uses our story to lead us and kind of bring us to being exactly where it is we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there. Like he's so faithful to do that. You mentioned just a little bit about your own counseling experience. I wanted to ask some more about that, because it sounds like you've had counseling at different stages in your life. And now here at the practice, practicing what we preach and doing our own work is such a key part of our development process for counselors. Cassie and I do our own work. We just, believe that you can't lead where you haven't been willing to go, and you can't give what you don't have. And so doing our own work is really an important part of us being able to help people in the ways that we want. Could you maybe share just a little bit, what doing your own work has meant for you? Like, how has doing your own work impacted your life?
Yeah. Well, I think what you said, like, you can't give what isn't there or what you don't have. And I think this job, this position brings things up, how often you're like, oh, I'm not sure I'm so equipped in that. And so being able to have somebody that I can go to when I face things on a very consistent basis, like you said, like various stages of my life. Yes, I've benefited from it, but certainly in this job, I think I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I didn't have my own foundation, someone that is safe and secure and can guide me, in the direction that I need to go in. I would not be able to show up here without that. So,
yeah, I think it surprises people sometimes. They're like, I mean, you have a therapist, you are a therapist, and that like somehow those things aren't computing. And it's like, well, a doctor still needs a doctor, and that that we can't heal ourselves. That God designed us to need community in the body, and the same traumas and hurts and struggles that everybody else faces in life, we do too. And it's really out of the place of our doing our own work and our own healing that empowers us to do this work so well. So yeah, thanks for sharing that and just a little bit about how your own work has shaped your life. We get in this job the coolest opportunities to have a front row seat to what God is doing in people's lives. And we are keenly aware that we're not the healer. We're not the one that transforms people's lives, but we do get to be a tool that he uses and a conduit of his grace into people's lives. So we get to see miracles all the time in front of us. I'd just love for you to share a recent experience that you've had in therapy where you really just got to witness God do something cool that we can brag on in this space.
Yeah, gosh, there's so many moments that I see it, big and small. Sometimes I think I love pointing out, like, oh, did you see that? What did God just do? I love that. I think just fresh on my mind is, with having a client who I think actually sought me out because they knew I had like an addiction background. And I think that's why they originally sought me out, but we're not in a place at all to address that. But willing to do the work and willing to go through all the other things that also brought them to counseling at, the time that they started, to eventually get to a place where they had the courage, I guess, to step out and say, like, okay, we can celebrate all the work that God has done, but there's this one thing that I'm still struggling with. And to finally take the risk and have courage, but then to keep up with it. And to every session we have, it's like, I feel better here. I feel better in this way. And my relationships are better. And it's like, I don't know, just seeing God be patient with him through that whole process. And then here he is like, okay, yes, finally. So that is so cool.
Yes. Like the patience of God in your patience, right? That we get to model, we get to reflect the patience of God and just meeting with people right where they're at and journeying with them. I just love revealing the heart of God like that so much that we think of sometimes, depending on our background, our experiences with God, as he's like wagging his finger at us, frustrated that we're not further along the journey or better than we are, whatnot, that there's this critical, judgmental thing. But what his heart is that tender, patient, compassionate, meets us right where we're at and walks with us to the beautiful place that he's wanting to take us to. And to get to be, that incarnational presence of the Lord, being patient and walking alongside and seeing the beauty unfold. Gosh,
Yeah, it's the best.
it is
It's
the
the best.
best. It really is the best. It's so good. I just, this is a video for your profile page, right? And so people will be watching this who are curious about who this summer girl is and what she's about. And, they feel like maybe God is prompting them to do some work, that there's a need in their story. And, but, it's scary. And they're a little nervous about that first session. They're a little nervous about starting this work. What do you want to say to your future client that's maybe watching this and feeling that angst?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think first of all, it's normal to feel nervous. You're getting ready to embark on a potentially crazy, wild, wonderful journey, and you don't know what to expect. So yes, you're nervous, and you are potentially going to bare your soul to someone you've never met before. That's terrifying. But I make it my absolute priority to make you feel as comfortable as you can, especially in that first session. The last thing I want is for anyone to walk away and think, oh gosh, what if they don't like me? Or what if I said something wrong? Like, don't even worry about that, is what I would say. Just come and be yourself and know that I'm holding all of the nerves and all of the what ifs as dearly as I can, to help alleviate that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. And I just love having you on the team, Summer. Like, it's so fun getting to see the reviews come in, the testimonies of people, and how God is using you in their life and their story and what's happening because you said yes to doing this work that He's called you to. So, yeah, I have a lot of gratitude for you, and I'm grateful that others have an opportunity to meet you and allow the Lord to work through you in their lives too.